Hello.
I don't know why this is so far away from me today. Right, I just need to raise the computer up because the angle is horrific.
You raise me up.
Right, well, it turns out it's my face and not the angle. Great. All right. Just stacking things under my laptop just to...
Why the hurl not?
Why the hurl not? Also, I've given myself a top knot today, so my headphones don't see on properly because I've got a little ponytail on top of my head.
Like that. It's nice to have long hair, enough for it to be a problem.
It's a proper problem.
A problem. It's a
Such
proper
a problem.
issue.
Such a problem because look, can you see there?
Yeah.
Scalp, because my hair has gotten so thin.
Oh, is it?
It's just strands just on the top of my head that aren't really doing anything. They're just willowing in the wind. Yeah, so I've got and I don't know whether it's the medication that I'm on or whether it's the menopause, but something ain't right.
Something's not going how you wanted it to.
Something's not going my way.
Well, how have you been? Apart from, fluffy hair.
Yeah, I've been all right, thank you. I'm a little bit, I might sound a bit coldy. Josie just went, I think you're getting a cold. So I might sound a little bit coldy, but I'm all right. I feel all right.
Good.
How are you?
Yeah, good. How's your job been going?
Yeah, really well. It's been very demanding, but I finished my training now, which is really good. But I think I've been in a hospital full of sick people, and I think that's why I've gotten a small bit
sick.
A bit sickly. Yeah, and for everybody that's been waiting for a blam, I've both been incredibly busy. So we did record a blam late one evening, and then I was halfway through editing it, but it just weren't coming together. So we've scrapped it and we're starting again with it.
Shit.
Yeah,
Get rid of that shit.
It was shit. We weren't about that for our little blamily. So
I'm not going to give that to you.
No. So we're re-recording it. So apologies for the delay, but you will be getting your blam episode. They might just be at the back end of this month.
You will.
Yeah. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your patience. It's much appreciated. It's not a blam, but I was just reading through this, and it's about like Essex and Cockney and all that from around our gaff
neck of the woods.
Yeah. Do you know what this phrase is? What's the use of having an artful dodger if all the Burton goes down the rubber?
No, I don't know that.
I'll say that again because I messed it up. What's the use of having an artful dodger if all the Burton goes down the rubber?
No, don't know it. Can't even figure it out.
Well, I've deciphered it. And what it is what's the use of having a artful dodger is lodger. So what's the use of having a lodger if all the Burton is Burton on Trent, I think it was. Burton on Trent rent. And rubber is rubber dub pub. So what's the use of having a lodger if all the rent goes down the pub?
Yeah, I see the issue.
I see the issue. I mean,
see the issue.
You have an artful dodger so that you can go down the rubber.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, whose fault is that apart from your own?
Exactly.
No, it doesn't have to go.
You don't
down a rubber.
You're not forced to go down the rubber, are you?
Oh, I've got a lodger.
Got an artful dodger. I know.
Yeah. All right, that's cool.
Yeah. But on that note, random blams, go. I'll do this one.
All right. You take one for the team. You've got one.
This. And the only reason that I've got this is because I would like to give a shout out to Emma. And Emma sent me a really good blam. She said, I've got blam for you. And I was like, oh, yeah. She listens along with Glenn, a lovely Glenn. I love Emma and Glenn. So she said, I've got a plan for you. She said, and it absolutely blew my mind. And when she told me, I was like, what? What? Are you sure? And she went, hang on a minute. She went, let me just absolutely double check my facts before I tell you, because I don't want you to be giving everyone the wrong information. So she looked it up and I looked it up, and it is absolutely true. Did you know, and I'm hoping that you didn't, because, you know, did you know that Australia is wider
Than the moon?
Oh, son of a bitch.
I've done that already.
No, you haven't.
I've done that as a blam. I gave some little facts. Australia's wider than the moon. I guarantee I've given you that already.
I have no memory of that.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah, I'm certain I've done that in a blam.
Well, I don't remember that.
All right, well, I'll go back. Check your facts.
Re-listen to all of the other 90
Yeah, I
something.
can't tell you which one it's in, but it's in one of them.
Oh.
Yeah, I've done that fact because it blew my mind as well.
It's proper mind-blowing, that, isn't it?
Yep.
I couldn't believe that. I was like, what? Wider than the moon? Surely not. And then I looked at the size ratio between the two and
got your tape measure out.
Yeah. I thought, I'm going there. Not Australia,
the moon.
Yeah. I thought I'm going to go up there with my tape measure. And I'm going to measure
circumference.
Yeah. So I did on behalf of the podcast. And yeah, turns out is. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to have to find a blam because the people have heard that before. So I'm going to have to find one.
What a bitch.
Hold on.
All right. Well, I'm going to give out another Cockney rhyming slang. Green gauges.
No, don't know.
I'll pay you back when I get my greens. And
that's
greens,
money, isn't it?
Greens is short for green gauges, which is wages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pay you back when I get me green gauges. Wages. What about Harvey Nickel?
Pickle.
I love a Harvey Nickel. Hit and miss. Hit and miss can either be piss or kiss.
No, you don't want to get them mixed up, do you?
Hit and miss you all over your body, and they're like, "Ooh,
piss."
I know. Piss all over your body. No.
Yeah. Right. I've got a random blam.
Go on.
Okay. So Google Images, something we use a lot. Everybody Google Images everything, right? And you think, when was that a thing?
Yeah.
Because you think it's always been a thing. You've always been able to just type in what you wanted and then get the image to come up, haven't you? Always. Yeah, but no, you haven't. You haven't, Kate.
I have. Yes, I have.
So Google Images was inspired after Jennifer Lopez wore a then scandalous green dress to the 2000 Grammy Awards. Google searches for that image became the most popular search query Google had ever seen, and they realized they needed a way to deliver what people wanted. So because Jennifer Lopez wore an incredibly scandalous green dress, people wanted to see it and wanted to see her in it.
Yeah.
So then Lost Google Images was created.
Oh.
In 2000. Yeah. How about that?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Didn't know. Yeah, I thought it just come along with Google.
Yeah, it's always been a thing. But no.
No.
Hasn't.
No. Bloody ain't.
No.
No.
Random blams, done.
I've got a good one for you today.
Great. I've been waiting for a good one. The
other
ones have been shit.
The other ones have all been shit. What a load of old shit.
Thank God this one's going to be a good one.
This one, it's not at all murdery or anything like that. I've been looking for like a proper mystery ever since episode, I think 2, when I did Travis Walton.
Yeah. So have the people.
I know. All of the people of the world have been waiting, and I've been feeling it. I've been sensing it. So this one is very Travis Walton-esque.
That's fantastic news.
It's great news, isn't it? I knew you'd be pleased. But then I thought you'd be mind blown at the fact that Australia is wider than the moon. But
no, that's general fact. That's not random blam. That blew nobody's mind. Yeah.
Blew my mind. Obviously, I wasn't listening the first time round.
Turns out neither was Emily.
Emma. Neither were you.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is Emily?
Sorry about that.
Well, thanks, Emma. It blew my mind anyway, because clearly I wasn't listening the first time round. Right. Well, this episode is called Mystery in the Woods. So let's do it.
All right.
Morning.
Morning.
And what
Right.
a sunny morning it is down here in Suffolk, Essex.
Yep. It is actually sunny, which is nice because I tell you what, it's been freezing.
I am still cold. I mean, it is
Yeah.
sunny, but I have been cold for like the last week.
I went out in a hat and gloves the other day.
I put
Freezing.
thermals on last night.
Did you?
Yeah.
Long johns.
Yeah. I was like,
you got one of those ones with the flap on the bum.
No, but I would like some.
I had some as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When onesies were an original thing.
Oh yeah. The thermal is an OG onesie, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. No, I went out on my bike last night because I was like, it's the last bit of like nice weather, and because we've had like monsoon rain, it's been freezing cold and that, and I was like, it's kind of sunny today. It's chilly, but it's sunny. So I thought, right, that's it. Sod it. I'm going out on my bike, but I knew I'd be cold on my bike. So I put my thermals on, wrapped up. It was nice and warm, nice and toasty.
That's a great story for the people.
I thought you'd all appreciate that. Yeah, me and my thermals flying along at 15 miles an hour. Me. Yeah. I was like, it's too cold to go any faster. Yeah. So that's my news for the week. How'd you like that?
I really like it, but this segment's supposed to be the story. We've done our updates.
Yeah, well, that's what you get. I feel like we haven't recorded in ages. That's why.
I mean, we haven't because
we kind of have, but we've kind of bunched them together a little bit, haven't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Mystery in the Woods. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. 1995. Americus in Kansas, which is a place obviously in America, but it's called Americus. Americus.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's confusing. 29-year-old Devin Williams was a long haul truck driver. And he was a big burly guy. He was kind of very lumberjack-like. He had a big fuzzy handlebar moustache, you know, the ones that come...
That Harley Davidson moustache.
All the way down to his chin, kind of framing his chin and lower jaw. Everyone knew Devin and said, or everyone that knew Devin said that he was a really easygoing, nice guy, very calm. He didn't really look like he was. Do you know what I mean? He looked like quite big and tough, and
they were always cuddly bears.
Yeah, but he was a teddy bear by all accounts. He was married to a girl called Mary Lou, not Mary Lou Who, just Mary Lou. And they had 3 kiddies together. They were super happy, very much in love. Devin was absolutely obsessed with his 3 kids, absolutely loved them, spent as much time with them as he could. And this is important. He, like I say, he adored them, and he absolutely hated being away from them. And it was really the only thing that he disliked about his job as a trucker, was that he was quite often away for like weeks at a time, or he'd be away for like 4 or 5 days doing a drive, and then he'd come back and he'd spend like a couple of days with his family. But other than that, he was happy in his job. He was happy in his life. He and Mary Lou had just bought a house together, and it was a proper fixer-upper house, like really run down house. So Devin felt that he had to put in some good shifts at work so that he could earn a bit of extra money to do this house up. On this particular period of time, he'd been on the road for about 4 days. So he'd been away from his wife, Mary Lou, and his children. And he would do a certain amount of hours drive, and then he would pull into a truck stop, have sleepies in his sleeper cab, and then wake up, carry on his drive. He was on this particular route. He was en route to Missouri, and he was delivering a whole truckload of lettuce and strawberries. So he had a big, like, refrigerated lorry. It was huge. This big. There was a couple of words. I was like, is it like a semi truck? Is it something? There's articulated lorry or something. And I was like, do you know what? I'm going to get it wrong. But it was a big truck, really, really big lorry. And Devin just wanted to get this trip over with so that he could get back to his family, to be honest. He was responsible, though, so he knew that he had to have regular stops for rest and sleep. On this particular night, this was Saturday night, Devin pulled over, got out of his cab, walked over to the truck stop payphone and called his boss, Tom. This wasn't really something that Devin did. Like, he wouldn't normally, like, his boss, Tom, said that it was a little bit out of the ordinary for Devin to phone and just kind of check in with Tom. Normally he just got on with it and he didn't hear from him until he got to his destination. And then he just sort of said, you know, I've made the delivery, on my way back now. And that'd be it. But he didn't often phone kind of part way through. But on this Saturday night, he did. He phoned Tom and he said he was really having trouble sleeping. So he said, I might need to make some additional stops on the way and sleep or rest or something. But don't worry, Tom, I'll be in Missouri first thing Monday morning as planned to make my delivery of lettuce and strawberries. So Tom was like, okay, yep. I mean, it's nice of you to call, but
unnecessary.
Yeah, little bit odd, but you know, okay, that's great. Tom knew Devin really well, and Tom considered Devin one of his, if not his most reliable driver. So Tom was happy. He was like, all right, mate, no worries. Speak to you Monday. And he was like, okay. However, 9 a.m. on Monday morning rolled around, and the depot in Missouri, that by now were completely out of lettuce and strawberries, they called Tom and said something along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing here, see here, your driver's not here with our lettuce and strawberries. And Tom was a bit like, that's a little bit like premature. Do you know what I mean? It's like 9 a.m. It's like 9 a.m. Monday morning. Like, give him a chance. Do you know what I mean? He's my most reliable driver. Why are you like phoning straight away and saying he's not here? Give him a minute. He'll be there.
Pipe down. You'll get your lettuce and strawberries.
Yeah, exactly. Calm your knickers. So, yeah, he was a little bit pissed off with that, but he was just like, look, just give him a minute. He'll be there. He's a good driver. He's my best guy. But a couple of hours went past and the depot called Tom again and said, he's still not here. What the fuck? So Tom then actually felt quite worried, and he was kind of, he had this call from Saturday night in mind where he was thinking, well, Devin did say he might need to make a couple of extra stops and things like that. So maybe he's just a few hours behind, maybe he's half a day behind. But, you know, he did feel quite worried, but he sort of thought, well, maybe. So all of Monday, Tom waited to hear from Devin. And you got to bear in mind, this was 1995. So there weren't really, mobile phones existed, but they weren't really a thing like they are nowadays. So he couldn't just pick up the phone and phone him and go, where are you? So Tom had to literally sit and wait for Devin to go to a payphone and phone him with an update. So he just had to sit and wait. By sort of later Monday, Tom started thinking, like, this is really unlike Devin to not get in contact or anything. So he started calling around. He phoned some of the other truck drivers at certain stops along Devin's route and said, have you seen or heard from him? You know, I don't suppose he popped in to see you or anything like that. And everyone was like, no, I haven't heard anything from him. Monday evening rolled around and Mary Lou, Devin's wife, actually called Tom and said, is Devin okay? Because it's really strange that I wouldn't have heard from him. Normally he would phone when he's done his drop off and I haven't heard anything from him. So now everyone was worried because Tom was now thinking, well, if he hasn't even called his wife and he always calls Mary Lou, what's happened? Where is he? Where is his truck? Where's all these strawberries? So Mary Lou got onto the police and said, I need to make a missing person report. It's very unlike my husband to not, you know, check in. He's now sort of a whole day behind his scheduled delivery. Something's up. So they said, okay, we'll put together a police report, call around, see if anyone's seen or heard from him. Now, in Coconino, which is in Arizona as well, the sheriff's department, when they saw this missing person report, they said, we've got a match because we've found his truck, because they give obviously the license plate and the description of the truck. They said, well, no, we've got his truck. We know where that is. We don't know where Devin is, but his truck has caused quite a stir in these parts. So what's happened with Devin's truck, you ask? So we're going to skip to Saturday night when Devin had made his stop, called his boss to say that he was having trouble sleeping, blah, blah, blah. So that was when his truck and Devin were kind of last seen at this truck stop. On the Sunday morning in Tonto National Park in Coconino, some very bizarre and perplexing things had been happening. I would like to add that Tonto National Park was around 20 miles off of Devin's route. So it wasn't like he'd just...
He weren't just passing it.
Yeah, he didn't think, oh God, I am cream crackered. I'm going to pull over and I'm going to try and get some proper sleep. It was way, way off his route. In fact, it was way off any trucking route. It wasn't anywhere near big highways or motorways or anything like that. It was right off the beaten track in the middle of nowhere. And all of these roads in this park and around this park are extremely narrow. And in fact, they're not even proper roads. They're like small dirt tracks. They're not even sort of like paved roads. They're just, you know, roads that hikers would maybe drive down in their cars, or you know, park rangers would go in their trucks, you know, and things like that. But it's certainly not big enough for trucks. So Sunday morning, Tonto National Park, a lady called Lynn and her fella Jack were at this Tonto National Park where they had been hiking and camping and just enjoying nature, when they heard a very loud roaring and crashing sound that seemed to be getting louder and louder. They looked in the direction of this sound and they could just see like a big dust cloud and smoke just like kicking up from everywhere, and it was kind of traveling down the road. And they looked at each other and they were like, what the blazes? And then they saw what was making this loud noise. It was this behemoth truck barreling along this very, very narrow dirt road. And when I say barreling along, like it was going full speed. It was like it was a runaway train. Do you know what I mean? It was like thundering along at full speed, crashing along, bouncing over all these bumps and dips in the road and terrifying all the wildlife in its path. Jack and Lynn couldn't believe what they were seeing. It was so out of place. And, you know, if you imagine this sort of dirt pathway in the middle of an enormous national park, so just woods and forest and everything. And they were kind of both thinking the same thing. They were like, how did it even get in here? A truck that size, how would it even get in here? Why would it be in here? There's nothing in here for it. It's not like it's making a delivery to like a calf or something. There's nothing in there other than trees.
It would have been breaking all the branches overhead.
Exactly.
Because, you know, like a tree will grow to like where there's nothing there. So like if a bus goes through, then it'll be just higher than the bus. But if a car goes through, it's just higher than the car.
Yeah.
So
almost bus shaped.
Yeah.
Like that.
They grow around where it like they know that they're not going to get.
It was like it was kicking up like dust and dirt and twigs and branches and everything from everything, like just tearing through this forest. And they were kind of thinking like, why is it going so flipping fast? Like it must be like out of control or something, because it was just smashing through. And
as they say in Norfolk, slow you down, boy.
Slow you down. Slow you down, boy.
There's signs up that say, slow you down, boy.
Really? Slow you down?
Slow you down, boy.
Slow you down. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what we'd say down here.
Fucking calm your tits.
Yeah, calm your tits. Yeah. Yeah, calm your tits, love. Yeah, so they were thinking calm your tits, love, or slow you down, boy. Then they thought, I still don't know why he's going so fast, but maybe this guy took a wrong turn and he's trying to find somewhere to turn around. I don't know, but they couldn't work out what was happening and why they were seeing what they were seeing. And then it came thundering past them, you know, and they were like dust everywhere and whacked in the face with branches and everything, and they were like, oh fucking hell. And then it disappeared off into the dust, and they thought, oh fucking hell. So that was that. Moments later, they heard the same rumbling, and they thought, that can't be another one. But it wasn't. It was the same truck, but it was coming back the other way. So then they thought, he obviously was lost. He went down there, turned round, gone back the other way. So it went flying past, and they thought, oof, fucking hell. So that was that. Then you heard it come back again. So for a third time, it came barreling down the road again. And they were like, for God's sake.
I can imagine that's no small feat turning that around as well.
I know, right? But they were like, within sort of like 10 minutes or whatever, this truck had gone thundering past them, like, again. And they were like, for God's sake. So as the truck, for now the third time, come hurtling towards them again, they were like, what is he doing? We thought he was turning around. He's obviously not. He's obviously turned around again and come back the other way. So they kind of stood back a bit. But this time, they kind of looked the other way down the road, and they saw this little car just kind of bumping up all slowly over this little dirt road and that. And they thought, fuck, like they are going to have a head on, because this bit of the road was like they were on a bend. So they could see both directions, and they could see this truck flying down like a runaway train down one side. And then the other way, they could see this little car with this little man in it, driving along really slow, just going about like 10 miles an hour, if that, just sort of pootling along. And they were like, strike a light, governor. They're going to smash into each other. So they both started like jumping out in the road, and they were going, stop, 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 like this to the lorry, because he was flying at like 70 miles an hour down this dirt road. And they're going, stop, stop, stop. There's a car coming. There's a car coming, and shouting. He didn't stop, slow down, no kind of hesitation at all. However, the guy in the little car could also see Jack and Lynn flapping around in the road and going, stop, stop. And he thought, oh shit, there must be another car coming. So he slowed down, he came to a stop, and he thought, yep, they look in a panic. So, all right, I'll just reverse. So he starts going backwards all slowly, and he thought, I'll just reverse back to, like, as you do. I mean, we do in the country lanes around here all the time. You just think, oh, I'll just reverse to like that little passing spot, and then they can go past and I'll carry on my way. So he starts like that. He's going back all slowly to this little parking spot. All of a sudden, he sees this enormous truck come flying round the bend. Jack and Lynn have like thrown themselves face down into the woods to get away from it. And he then thinks, all right, 10 miles an hour going backwards is not going to cut it. So he starts speeding up and going backwards a bit even faster. And then at the point where the truck was quite clearly just going to smash straight into him or go straight over the top of him, he thinks, I need to get out of the way. So he turns the steering wheel really hard, and he shot back like at a hard angle into the woods and trees. Luckily, he didn't like smash into a tree or anything like that, but he rolled off into the brush and dirt, and the truck went thundering past without even like slowing down for a second. Jack and Lynn rushed over to him to make sure he was okay, because he must have been proper shaken up. Yeah. So they went over and they were like, oh my God, don't know what happened. Like, are you okay? And that, and he was sitting there like, probably with a car full of like his own excrement. I would have been, I'd have filled that car, honestly. And he said that he looked the driver like dead on in the face, because I think he was kind of, stuck in he was flying backwards and the truck was flying towards him, and they kind of like almost made eye contact. But he said the driver of the lorry was proper like stone faced. He said he was looking directly ahead. He had no expression on his face whatsoever. And he, not at any point did he look at this guy and his little car flying backwards. He said it was like he had no knowledge that I was there whatsoever. It's like he couldn't see me. And he said it freaked him out a little bit. While this conversation was kind of going on, and obviously the lorry had already hurtled off into who knows where, a little way away, a family were out on a little hike together, looking for a lovely spot to have a beautiful Sunday picnic. And when they approached this clearing in the middle of Tonto National Park, well, not in the middle, but there was a clearing in the forest, they were as perplexed can be when they saw a huge refrigerated truck stopped smack bang in the middle of the meadow. And they felt the same as Jack and Lynn. They were like, that's really out of place. Like, why would there be an enormous refrigerated lorry just sitting in the middle of this beautiful clearing? And, they didn't know what the hell was going on. And they noticed that there was a man standing close to the truck, like outside the truck, just standing there, not moving, just standing still. And the man seemed like completely motionless, but he was like looking off. He seemed to be looking at the mountains in the distance. So the dad of the family, Mike, and I'd just like to say for the sake of our records and facts and everything else, I don't know that his name was Mike. I don't know what his name was. I couldn't find what his actual name was, so I'm calling him Mike.
Oh,
Mike. So he told his family, he said, look, stay put. Just going to go and like see if everything's all right. It's a bit weird, you know, just wait here with the kids. I'm just going to walk over and see if he's all right. So as Mike got closer to the man and the truck, he shouted and he was like, hey, do you need help? Nothing. The guy didn't acknowledge him or anything like that. And he thought, all right, maybe he didn't hear me. Mike noticed that the truck was now wedged in like deep mud. He was like, that truck's not going anywhere. So as he got closer, he shouted out again. And he was like, hey, buddy, are you okay? Do you need me to call someone? We can walk back to a phone, you know, and call someone. Guy didn't acknowledge him at all. When Mike got about 5 foot from the guy and the truck, he said loudly, are you okay? Do you need help? And he said that the man turned very slowly and calmly and looked Mike dead in his eye. And Mike, at this point, shit himself, quite frankly. As soon as they made eye contact, he said he didn't know why, but he suddenly felt really uneasy and really uncomfortable and scared. And then the trucker guy opened his mouth and Mike thought, thank God he's actually going to speak to me. But then the man didn't say anything. He just opened his mouth wider and wider and wider until it was as open as you can open your mouth, still maintaining eye contact with Mike the whole time. Then he began to move his lower jaw up and down really fast, still making like full, like opening his mouth as wide as he could. And then he started smashing his teeth together in this real crazy motion, but just staring into Mike's soul while he did it. Mike fully shit himself now and started backing away and thinking like, what the fuck is going on? I really wished I hadn't walked over here now. Then the trucker guy stopped and stood motionless, didn't move his mouth. And Mike didn't know what to do. And he had a moment where he thought, is he going to attack me? What's happening? And then the trucker guy said, I didn't do it. They did it. Mike properly shit himself now and he just turned and ran. He was like, I'm not about it. He turned, he ran, he grabbed his family on the way past and they all ran. He was just like, run, kids, run. And they all legged it. They legged it back to their car, back home. And Mike got on the phone, called the police, told them everything that had happened. He was like, I don't know what was happening, but it was really weird. So the police were like, okay, we'll go and check it out. So they followed the directions that Mike had given them, and they found the truck sitting there in the middle of this meadow. They had a mooch around the truck. The engine was still running, so the sheriff was thinking, driver can't be far. Maybe, I don't know, maybe he's legged it off into the trees to have a tiddle. Don't know. Or maybe he's inside. Maybe he's in the cab having a nap, something like that. So that he shouted and he was like, you know, all right, buddy, do you want to come out? It's the police. Nothing. He shouted again, you know, just want to have a chat to you, see if we can get you out of this mud. Nothing. So sheriff thought, I'll climb up the cab, see if I can peep through, have a look and see if the guy's in there. Maybe he's in there asleep. Maybe he's, I don't know. So he pulled himself up And he said as he climbed up the cab door, he felt uneasy. He felt like something was a bit creepy. Maybe it was because all of this was really out of place. Didn't know. He slowly got himself higher up onto the side step, got his foot on, raised his head to the bottom of the driver's window, peeped in the window, and he saw absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. There was no man in there. He said the cab looked neat and tidy. Nothing was in disarray. The sheriff tried to open the door, but he said it was all locked. So with a sigh of relief, the sheriff hopped down and they said, let's go and check the back of the truck, see if maybe, like, I don't know, maybe he's been shut in there, or maybe he's not well, or I don't know. So they went round to the back of the truck. He tried the rear cargo doors and they were open. When he opened the rear cargo doors, they found the most enormous amount of strawberries and lettuce. The sheriff logged the license plate of the truck, made his report, and obviously this tallied up with Mike's, the father of the family he was shit himself. So that all tallied up together. The sheriff contacted a local towing company who went and towed the truck to the impound. On the very next day, which was Monday, these reports linked up with a match when Devin's truck and Devin were reported missing. So, as I'm sure you're all aware of, this was Devin's truck. And witnesses, when they were shown a photo of Devin, said that it was 100% that this weird speeding truck man was Devin. And Mike saw the pictures and said, yep, that was the man that opened his mouth really super wide and then started doing all this weird shit. But although now it was obvious that this was Devin and he was in his truck, nothing else added up. Everyone who knew Devin said, like, it's so out of character. It's out of character for anyone to behave the way this man was behaving, but it was really out of character for Devin because he wasn't sort of silly like that. He wasn't a prankster. He wouldn't have been doing it just to freak people out or because he found it funny or anything like that. It just didn't fit. And also, what would have been the possible reason that Devin would have driven that far off his route? Why would he have gone to a national park? Why was he driving so fast? Why would he, he was a long seasoned truck driver. Why would he have driven it into an area where there was such thick mud? Why would he have been driving backwards and forwards down the same bit? Why? And also, where was Devin now? Like, they had his truck, but they didn't find Devin. So the police obviously sort of pretty much straight away said, well, maybe he just kind of ran away. Maybe he was looking for an out and that was it. But literally everyone that he worked with, his family, his friends, his work colleagues, everything, they said he would have absolutely no motive for this. He was doing pretty well financially. He had a great relationship with his wife. He loved his kids. He had a good job that he liked, apart from being away from his family. They'd just bought a new family home together. Devin had never been in trouble with the law. He wasn't a gambler. He had no reports of any mental health issues. He'd never done drugs. And in fact, because being a lorry driver, he had to regularly do drug tests. And he always passed them. There was never any sign of drugs in his system. And he loved his life. He had no motive for wanting to get out. So police said, okay, we need to find what's happened. So they started a massive search for Devin. And they spoke to everyone in the area. When the police spoke to Jack and Lynn, they told police that they were pretty sure that first thing Monday morning, so the day after all this mad truck driving and picnics and police going out and finding Devin's truck and all that, Jack and Lynn said that they were pretty sure that they'd seen Devin just walking around barefoot in the forest. And this was as Jack and Lynn were leaving early Monday morning to go home. They were driving out in their car out of the forest. And they said they just saw him kind of wandering along, and he looked like vacant, like he just looked really vacant. And they pulled over and sort of said, "Hey buddy, you okay?" And because they said he was barefoot as well, which just looked really odd. And they said, "Are you okay?" And they said that Devin literally just bent down, picked up a rock and threw it at them.
Oh.
And they were like, "Jesus Christ, let's get out of here."
See you later then.
Yeah, so they just like steamed off. But they said they were pretty sure that, because they hadn't really seen him until that point. They'd seen his lorry and they'd seen him like hurtling past, but they hadn't actually seen him. But they said that that is what he looked like. He looked like a big burly guy, handlebar moustache, blah blah blah. But yeah, so he'd just bent down, picked up a rock and threw it at them in their car. So they were like, "Right, let's get out of here." After 3 weeks of this huge search, they found nothing. No Devin, no sign of Devin, no clothes, nothing. No sign of someone trying to live wild in the forest, or just absolutely nothing. And Devin was never seen again until May 1997. 2 hikers were in Tonto National Park, and they were around 2 miles from where these events had taken place. And this was right in the center of this massive search area that the police had done 2 years prior. And these hikers were hiking away when they saw something out of place, I guess, on the forest floor amongst the fallen leaves. And this turned out to be Devin's skull. And this was later confirmed through DNA testing. However, Devin's body, skeleton, bones was never found. All they found was his skull 2 years later. Nobody to date, nobody has ever been able to explain what happened to Devin. They've done many tests. They've looked into many different possibilities. Marks and scarring on the skull of maybe like animal attacks or things like that. Nothing. They've never been able to find any of his clothes, pelvis bone, like literally nothing. There are many theories of what had happened with Devin. Like maybe he'd taken drugs, maybe he had a mental break, maybe there was underlying health issues. A lot of people have said that he had heat stroke, but my favorite one is aliens. And people have said that there was something in the way he was behaving and the kind of scary vibe that he was giving off with the people that he did come into contact with. There was some kind of intervention from aliens, but we don't know. And to this day, it remains a perplexing mystery with so many unanswered questions. The end.
Wow. I was going to say, midway through that story, I was going to say, I hope to God you tell me what happened.
I know.
Didn't. So it could have been as well, my personal theory, some sort of leak in the truck, because if it's a refrigerated truck, there's a lot of chemicals.
Could have been.
So it could have been some sort of leak, which...
Yeah, sorry about that. We had a power cut.
I had the power cut.
Had a power threw us off
Sorry.
our vibe.
Yes. So anyways.
Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it could have been a leak, like poisonous gas or something like that, which has made him act in a manner that... But the thing is, he was still lucid enough to drive and then turn his truck around and then drive back, where I think if you're ingested carbon monoxide or whatever,
you'd be unconscious.
prob's not gonna be.
Don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of how these trucks work, but I would have thought the refrigerated unit would be so separate from anything like that. I don't know. I mean,
know.
I would have thought, I don't know. I would have thought they would have checked the truck over. There wasn't any reports that something had gone wrong with the truck. As far as I know, everything was like working okay. But I mean, you never fully know, do you? Unless you're...
I don't think they would have tested for it, because he's left his truck in the middle of a meadow and then he's buggered off. They're not going to go, oh, I'll check for a leak.
No, but I mean,
there
were reports straight away that he was acting... Bless you.
Acting erratically.
That he was acting weird, and they did this whole massive like man search for him, and I don't know.
He probably is. He's obviously died in the forest, but he's in the national park. But that's probably died from the elements. If he's walking around barefoot, and
but also, why didn't they find him?
How big is it?
Well, yeah, but they found his skull within the search area. I don't know. It's just
but that
really
could have been
weird.
Dragged away, couldn't it? Like,
but dragged away and then brought back. It is weird. Whichever way you look at it.
It is weird. Yeah, it's one of those unexplained mysteries.
Yeah. If anyone knows anything more about it, we would love to hear.
I'm sure that the rest of his body will at some point turn up.
Yeah, or it will just be buried somewhere in the forest. It just seems weird that like his skull would have been found like 2 years later, but pretty much like exactly where he was last seen.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
It is bizarre. It is, and it's a good one. I was really intrigued the entire way through it, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I was mind blown when I stumbled across that one, and I was like, oh, I need to tell the people.
Need to tell the people.
So I have.
Yeah.
Consider yourselves told.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. So thank you.
No problemo.
I'll wait for the next one.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for that. And
I'll
see you later.
Bye. If you have enjoyed listening to our episodes, make sure you rate us and leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening.
We absolutely love hearing from you guys. So you can also help support our show by donating to our Buy Me a Coffee link. We will make sure that you get a massive shout out and a big thank you in our next week's episode.
You can also follow us on social media at Perplexed Podcasts. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and if you want to see more videos and blooper reels, subscribe to our TikTok and YouTube channels.
You can also email us your stories at perplexedpodcasts@gmail.com.
And you can find all the relevant links in the episode descriptions. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.